After a difficult Sao Paulo Grand Prix, it was unsurprising that both of the drivers were upset. Charles Leclerc qualified a difficult P3, and then at one point in the race after the safety car restart, it looked like he's gonna get P2. Then on the other side, you have Lewis Hamilton. He had many good races in Sao Paulo, an honorary citizen of Brazil who was also looking forward to this Grand Prix. Both of them DNF'd, and they were upset, and they expressed their sadness in the post-race interviews. And John Elkann, the CEO of Ferrari, this is what he had to say. Let me just change the language of this article. This is what this clueless guy has to say. So we will look at the statement of this guy, and then we will break down everything, and then we will also see the reply of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc and Team Ferrari to John Elkann's statement. So what he says after that post-race interviews of both of the drivers is that Ferrari wins when it is cohesive. This teaches the result of the WEC. Now, the first statement, right from the get-go, when this guy opens his mouth, it's obviously wrong. Ferrari has success in the WEC hypercar program because the race operations and management is not handled by Ferrari. In fact, in 2021, it was a big announcement. I don't know if this guy missed it or anything. It was a big announcement. So in 2021, it was announced that Ferrari is joining hands with AF Course, and these motherfuckers, the more competent bunch, will handle the day-to-day operations in the racing affairs in the WEC. And that's why, Ferrari supplies the components and stuff, but these guys run the show. So, again, Ferrari wins when it is cohesive. This teaches the result of WEC. It's just a factually incorrect statement. From the get-go, in Formula One, we have mechanics who are always first in performing pit stops. This is not factually correct either, because Ferrari's recent pit stops have been better. If you look at, the years before, around from 2018, 2019, all the way to 2021, 2022, Ferrari's pit stops were dog shit. Their strategy was dog shit. They would call the wrong driver in the wrong time. It even happened in Brazil. There was some miscommunication between Riccardo Adami and Lewis Hamilton. It even happened this season, earlier in this season, in the 2025 Miami Grand Prix, where Riccardo Adami and Lewis Hamilton were discussing about the swap, and then that eventually didn't come, and Lewis Hamilton got pissed off. And then towards the end of the race, he said that, do you want to let me, let science through? It was a big moment in the Miami Grand Prix. Go check it out. So obviously this guy doesn't watch the races. This is the first conclusion that I'm getting. He has no idea how the WEC operations are happening. He has no idea about the Ferrari AF Course partnership. He just doesn't watch the races. He's the kind of guy who spends his time in this mansion. That's the impression I'm getting from his first sentence and a half. In Formula One, we have mechanics who are always first in performing pit stops. Not true. We have engineers working to improve the car. This is definitely 100% not true. Ferrari's engineers, this is what they do. They look for loopholes in the FIA guidelines. Then they try to capitalize on those loopholes based on the FIA guidelines. And when the FIA closes those loopholes, the performance of Ferrari gets fucked. That's what the engineers do. Riccardo Adami, the race engineer, is horrible in communication. He's horrible in making things happen rapidly, making decisions, giving the right information to the drivers. Brian Bozzi is notorious for talking. Not Brian Bozzi. Brian Bozzi also gives useless information to Charles Leclerc multiple times. Must be the water comment comes to mind instantly. Also, Riccardo Adami is not that good of an engineer when it comes to at least communication. So from a car development perspective, the philosophy is wrong. From a race execution perspective, these guys are incompetent. So I don't know what the fuck this guy is smoking, but I need his dealer's number. Then finally, he tops it up with saying that we need drivers who think more about Ferrari and less about themselves. This is the statement that everybody is more pissed off at. I am pissed off at everything that this guy has said. But anyway, we need drivers who think more about Ferrari and less about themselves. First of all, Lewis Hamilton, 7-time Formula 1 world champion, could have gone to any... Why the fuck this got repressed? I have to change the language once again. Anyway, we need drivers who think more about Ferrari and less about themselves. Lewis Hamilton, 7-time Formula 1 world champion, could have gone to any team. They would be happy to take him. He could have taken a year off and then again come back. His stock will still be high. He could have left Formula 1, gone to any other, motorsport and, enjoyed his retirement and whatnot. He chose to go to Ferrari because he gives a fuck about Ferrari. That's the first thing. The second thing is Charles Leclerc. With all the pain and depression and the, rock bottoms that Ferrari has, given Charles instead of a decent chance to fight for the world championship, if it was any other driver other than Charles, he would have left. For some reason, Charles Leclerc has Stockholm Syndrome, so he just, he's still in Ferrari. So this idea that you need drivers who think more about Ferrari and less about themselves is just rhetorical. Not even rhetorical, it's just retarded. So everything that comes out of this guy's mouth, he's so out of touch with reality. And now let's look at what Lewis and Charles and Ferrari has said in response to this. Obviously, they didn't directly respond. Lewis says, Brazil, thank you for all the love, always. In the end, it wasn't the race we wanted. It's gutting, especially after some good progress, but we will move on. I back my team. This is the most important part of this message. I back myself. I will not give up. Not now, not then, not ever. Very polished message, highly professional. Let's look at what Charles has to say. A very difficult weekend in Sao Paulo. Disappointing to come back home with nearly no points at all for the team in what is a critical moment, blah, blah, blah. It is uphill from now, and it's clear that only unity can help us turn that situation around in the last 3 races. We will give it all, as always. And then finally, Ferrari also says, in the highs and lows, we stay united. This guy also said, we are extremely happy with the huge victory in endurance, blah, 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 and it has been possible precisely because of unity. And that's the reference here, in the highs and the lows, we stay united. So anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that nobody in Ferrari agrees with John Elkann, not the drivers, not the social media admin of Ferrari. That's a big thing. That's how clueless this guy is. And this is the primary reason why all of the clown behavior and tomfoolery happens in Maranello. And this is the primary reason. There are other reasons too. I will talk about the engineering aspect of it. I just said that the Ferrari engineers look for loopholes, and then when FIA closes the loopholes, they get fucked. I will create another dedicated video about this later this week because I got nothing else to do and there is no race weekend. But this type of dumb, low IQ, out of touch from reality type of statements that this guy has said, because every word here is a lie, as I have broken down in the preceding minutes. This is the reason why Ferrari will never win the world championship ever. Ever. It's not happening. Charles Leclerc needs to leave. Lewis Hamilton needs to prepare for his next move to Aston Martin after the retirement of Fernando Alonso, because that's the trend I'm seeing. Ferrari is the graveyard of champions, and Aston Martin is a place where they can go to get resurrected. That's basically what's going to happen. John Elkann is a dumb, low IQ retard who is ruining the team with his stupid ass statements. He needs to, the basics, what he needs to do is he needs to go and watch all of the races. That's what he needs to do. Then he will have a realistic idea about how competent the team actually is. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.